Before I start, I would like to pose a question. What is the relationship between Victoria's Secret and a chemical engineer? No, it's not what you guys are thinking of. Victoria's Secret actually produces this perfumes, and chemical engineers are directly responsible for that production of perfume. Good morning, my fellow friends. My name is Ranil Joshua Philippos, and I am a future chemical engineer. The reason why I'm giving this speech is to educate everyone on chemical engineering. Not many people know what chemical engineering is, and you'll be surprised with the amount of people that actually don't know the difference between a chemical engineer and a chemist. In this presentation, I would like to educate everyone on what is a chemical engineer, why I chose it, and its importance to society. Hopefully, by the end of this presentation, everyone will appreciate what a chemical engineer does. According to the June 17, 2003 American Institute of Chemical Engineers Constitution, chemical engineering is a profession in which mathematics, chemistry, and other natural sciences gained by study, experience, and practice is applied with the judgment to develop economic ways of using materials and energy for the benefit of mankind. Even I fully don't understand that, so let me make it simpler. Basically, a chemical engineer combines all scientific, which includes chemistry, physics, and biology, as well as mathematical knowledge to solve problems plaguing society by using the most economical way possible. Basically, we handle problems in the cheapest and most efficient way. Now that I've defined what chemical engineering is, I'd like to tell you why I chose this career. As a chemical engineer, I get to go out in the field and interact with numerous professions, as well as have the ability to do tedious laboratory work. A chemist, on the other hand, dedicates his entire life to the lab. Most of the time, chemists receive little to no recognition for the products made under a corporate company. They work long and hard, but with no appreciation whatsoever. That being said, a chemical engineer can cover most scopes of jobs, of course with mediocre specialization, and with enough training can take the job of a chemist. Of course, if it were up to an employer and it's completely lab work, the employer would choose a chemist over a chemical engineer due to their in-depth knowledge. The point I'm trying to make here is that chemical engineers are trained in versatility and adaptation due to extreme critical thinking skills. Also, the most important part, the pay for a chemical engineer is amazing. A report in May 2013, by the Bureau of Labor Statistics stated that the average chemical engineer has a mean hourly wage of $50.16. Annually, the average chemical engineer makes about $104,000. Let's let that sink in for a while. Why are chemical engineers paid so much? Well, because we are important to society. Allow me to explain our importance. Without chemical engineers, there will be no biodiesels, no perfumes, no paint, no chemicals, and so on. Most importantly, there will not be a high rate of oil and gas production. To produce chemicals and perfumes, A chemical engineer overlooks the entire process. What if I were to tell you that another chemical engineer is indirectly involved in that? To produce chemicals and perfumes, heat is needed. Heat is gained by burning fuel. Fuel, on the other hand, is gained by crude oil distillation. And who overlooks the whole process of crude oil distillation? A chemical engineer. From crude oil distillates, we can gain many products, from plastic bags to petroleum to lubricating agents that you use in those annoying squeaky door hinges. There are so many petroleum products. If I were to mention them all, this speech would never end. By now, most of you would have picked up that I admire the oil and gas sector. Of course, it has its disadvantages, but which sector doesn't? I would like to work in this industry, especially on an oil rig, due to its hands-on nature of work. Since I've introduced this topic, I would now like to briefly talk about the extraction and purification of crude oil. There are a lot of steps to extracting and purifying crude oil. First of all, we talk about locating the crude oil. Survey ships are taken by engineers and air waves are shot through the water and through the ground. By this means, the reflection of these air waves will then hit the hydrophones that are being trailed by the ship. Through the frequencies generated by the hydrophones, engineers can locate where oil reserves are. After oil reserves are located, that's when oil rigs are built. This is a typical picture of an oil rig. All right? So oil rigs are either built for that oil reservoir or it is imported from expunged oil reserves. This is the main body of an oil rig. This is called the derrick, and in the derrick is the most important part, the drill. The drill is actually a very long apparatus, and honestly, it is the most important. That is a drill bit. We can use him to size how big this drill bit is. These drill bits are industrially made of very hard material, normally tungsten carbide. But there are other drills which are actually lined with diamonds at its tips, because as we all know, diamonds are one of the most hardest elements on earth. It can break through so many things. And with that, you can penetrate the ground and extract oil. After drilling has been done and oil has been sucked up, oil is collected in huge external reservoirs. They are then placed in oil drums and moved to distillation factories. Here, I'll explain how a distillation column looks. Basically, this is of course a simple drawing, but a distillation column looks generally like this. What happens is crude oil is supplied into a distillation column, and its products of that crude oil are then separated into different fractions based on boiling points. The lowest part will have the highest boiling point, which normally is bitumen used for our roadworks. And the highest part has the lowest boiling point, which is normally used for our cooking gas. So these fractions are then taken and used for multiple and packaged and transported to multiple factories. From there, these factories will make their own products. In conclusion, the job of a chemical engineer is very important to society, especially a society that runs on oil and gas. However, the road to becoming a chemical engineer is very difficult. An average chemical engineer takes about 5 years to graduate. That's a lot. Well, I hope you guys understand everything I spoke of, especially what is a chemical engineer, why I chose the profession, and their importance to society. However, I did make it seem like chemical engineers could run the world. It is important to realize that all jobs depend on one another. If there was a surplus in chemical engineering, who would run the markets? Who would run the economy? Chemical engineers can't do that. I hope that my explanation on processing and extracting crude oil creates a new respect for everything made from it, especially that very bottle of perfume. Gentlemen, please buy some for your ladies, and ladies, please pester them about it. Support chemical engineers. Thank you.